Valve has done what I would say is the most important thing ever done for the gaming industry, I think probably since the jump from 2D to 3D. And they've done it by releasing the Steam Deck almost 2 years ago. What seemed like just another handheld device to the likes of the Switch or any other handheld turned out to be so much more, by giving you a whole damn gaming PC disguised as a handheld. It's not perfect, but it's already done so much by innovating the industry, making PC gaming more accessible, making cloud gaming more appealing, having tons of other companies following in Valve's footsteps, and finally, I think there's a chance this thing could even be the spark to end console gaming in general, and just having everything on PCs in a couple years. So we're gonna get further into these topics and see why this thing is not just the messiah of PC gaming, but gaming in general. I think it's safe to say that the gaming industry has been pretty stagnant in terms of real noticeable innovation. I mean, since at least the Xbox 360/PS3 generation.
Don't need the real golf club?
Please stop! Please don't.
With each passing generation, changes to how we play games have gotten just smaller and smaller, to now, where the main selling points of this new generation is games running at higher refresh rates and having fancy lighting with ray tracing. It's honestly kind of pathetic from how, at one point, we had the jump from 2D to 3D with the PlayStation and N64 to now, where we're talking about how good the lighting looks. Don't get me wrong, ray tracing really is a technological marvel, and it does make a big difference in some games when it's implemented well, but something to make an entire generation with? Yeah, hell no. And people have started to pick up on these lacking innovations on the console scene, and at the turn of the console generation in 2020, a lot of people switched to PC, myself included. People are sick of the simplicity of consoles, and if they aren't providing a good enough value, I mean, they're gonna switch to PC, where objectively the best experience is held. Since 2018, Steam has increased to over 62 million users according to Valve. However, I think it's also safe to say that even on the PC side of things, until the Steam Deck, innovation was also heavily lacking there as well. I mean, PC was still the best platform to play your games on, but it had been that way for over a decade. Most people who jumped in 2020 jumped to it because it was the best, but then the Steam Deck came along and cloud saves actually became an insanely useful feature for a much wider range of users. They jumped from essentially just being a safety precaution in case your system broke to something you can use to make your several devices feel like they're all one system, and the Steam Deck is to thank for that. There are so many games in my Steam library that I would never have put the amount of hours I did into them if it weren't for the Steam Deck, because really after a while sitting at your desktop hunched over just gets kind of exhausting and uncomfortable, and a lot of time I just kind of want to play games in my bed. That's why I think the Switch, despite its desperate need for an upgrade, is a great idea for a console. I don't have to stay on my couch to play games. I can take it in my room and play the games in bed. There's also the fact you can take it on the go, but really if you're watching this video, you do not go outside. Be so fucking for real with that. Jokes aside, being able to take your PC and play your games on the bus or train or in class is also really nice. And you could say, well, laptops have existed for years, and yeah, but nobody wants to carry a laptop around just to play their games. A good gaming laptop is always so massive and bulky, and most of the times you'd have to play your games at a table or desk anyway, so it kind of defeats the purpose of it being a handheld. Not to mention the price of a good gaming laptop is probably like more than your actual desktop, or like a fraction of the performance. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, is way more versatile than a laptop, and because of that, you can play it in way more areas than a laptop would let you. And there's also just the fact that some people don't feel like playing their games at a desk. After a while, being in that position is just not comfortable. I would know, I make fucking YouTube videos. There's also the fact that cloud gaming is made more convenient to use than ever with the Steam Deck. For one, it actually fucking works now, which is crazy how drastic the change has been from now to say maybe 3 years ago when there was a 5-second input lag with cloud gaming, and the only games you could realistically play through cloud would be turn-based RPGs. And then the Steam Deck lets me play literally any game I have in my library on it with all of the benefits my actual desktop would have through the cloud. So now I can play Cyberpunk at 60 FPS on it with no problem as long as I'm at home. Yeah, there's still some issues with the cloud functionality, but it's playable, and that's more than anybody could say even back in 2020, that's for sure. So it finally provides a genuine change of how you play your games on PC, and from how the Steam Deck utilizes big picture mode, which gives you a console-like experience, it makes the system a whole lot more appealing to console users. Big picture mode was another one of the best ideas ever made by Valve. It makes your computer have a console-like UI, making it much more user-friendly to navigate, so now nobody has a reason not to switch to PC, except for the exclusives on console. But the quality of those are kind of going down as well, if I'm being honest. Anyway, big picture mode. It's fucking awesome. I can plug a 25-foot HDMI cable into the back of my PC to a TV I have on the opposite side of my room, and then pull up big picture mode, grab a controller, and get the same experience I would get with that of a PS5 or Xbox Series X, but with all the benefits of playing on PC, like the massive increase in horsepower. And I do this with a lot of my games. Most of the Sony games that I've gotten ported to PC, I've done this with, since they're essentially like movies and they just feel way more immersive that way. There's a couple of indie horror games that have CRT filters, and I've put them on the TV to make them feel more vintage. Overall, having this setup is so cool, and it's made so much simpler from big picture mode. I can literally just load up big picture mode on the other TV, grab a controller, walk to the other side of my room, and play any game that I want. Now, what does this have to do with the Steam Deck? Well, the Steam Deck has big picture mode as its default UI. If you want to use the Steam Deck as an actual computer through Linux, you have to manually go to that. So basically, it functions like a console, like the Switch for example, but with all the benefits of PC gaming, like my personal favorite, stealing shit. And if you want to get into the more complicated side of PC gaming on the Steam Deck, you can buy a dock, plug in a keyboard and mouse, and use it as an actual gaming PC. You can even install Windows on it and use it like that. And for most casual users, it defaulting to big picture mode, again, makes it so that there is pretty much no reason for them to keep using their consoles rather than switching to PC. And that brings me to my final point, that the Steam Deck has the potential to completely change the console industry as we know it. Like I said earlier, the Steam Deck is not perfect. While for the most part it's pretty user-friendly and self-explanatory for anybody who's had any experience with the console, sometimes big picture mode might just bug out and you'll need to switch to the Linux desktop mode to fix it, or you might need to look up a guide on how to effectively use its storage since it tends to get filled up with random shit, for me at least. I also really frequently get issues with the cloud, where sometimes my cloud save data will just straight up be erased and I'll have to restart my progress in a game all over again. But once all these issues are ironed out, say 5 to 10 years from now, I genuinely think that consoles, at least how we know them, will be a thing of the past. Because you've seen it by now. Everybody is copying the Steam Deck. The ROG Ally, the Aya Neo, the Lenovo Legion Go, so many others. Already, almost 2 years in, we have all these systems that are capitalizing off of the Steam Deck's success. And once these issues are fixed with these systems, the console manufacturers, I think, are going to follow in these footsteps as well. Maybe it won't be something exactly like the Steam Deck, like they might not be portable, but the basic idea with a system with a console-like UI, but you can also use it as a normal PC if you decide to switch the mode, I think will probably be the future of consoles. Like I said earlier, the innovation on the console scene is getting smaller and smaller. More and more console exclusive games are getting ported over to PC. The day Sony starts putting their games on PC day and date with the PlayStation version of the game is inevitable at this point. And Nintendo is bound to want to put their games on PC as well, from the fact that everyone is already getting them for free on there. So I genuinely believe that in the next generation, or the generation after that, consoles as we know them will be completely obsolete and we'll start seeing more systems like the Steam Deck. Do I think it'll completely kill consoles? No, not at all. From a certain angle, the Steam Deck itself is a console. You buy it because it has good price to performance that building a PC comparable to it could cost almost double the amount being charged for it. I think there's always going to be a market for consoles with people who want good price to performance and who want a simple experience that they don't have to worry about anything else aside from the system and the games on it. But I feel like consoles are going to become way more versatile in the coming years, with you being able to do your homework on them, or edit videos on them, or make art on them, or surf the web on them, essentially being pre-built all-in-one PCs that automatically boot to big picture mode. And the competing consoles might have different features on each to make you want to buy one another, like a certain service you can only get for free on one console, or the better specs of another. And for the most part, I think this is a mostly bright future. Being able to play your games all on one system with no exclusives gatekeeping who can play what sounds fucking awesome, and I cannot wait till the day comes. However, I only say mostly because I do think that if the console manufacturers switch to this idea, they're bound to create their own store, and on the PC side of things, we'll follow in the footsteps of the Epic Games Store, buying up exclusives to them, and we'll probably end up with a situation like how Netflix is today, where there's just no consolidation anymore, and instead of having one app to play everything on, you have dozens for several games each. And yeah, this kind of sucks, but at the same time, between having a bunch of different stores that you have to open to play a game, and having a bunch of completely different systems that you have to buy to play a game, having the different stores is definitely the lesser of the two evils here. So in the end, I genuinely think that the Steam Deck has begun to tie up a lot of the loose ends in gaming. It has hasn't happened yet because these massive changes are going to take time, but if things keep going in the direction they are, I really think this thing can make modern gaming actually good. And instead of having to worry about all this other shit, you can just worry about playing the game instead. And it also helps that Valve is insanely pro-consumer with how they run things. Their customer support is nothing short of phenomenal. Shit, I've heard stories about people buying Steam Decks and then they go on sale the next week and then Valve gives them the money back they would have saved from the sale. It's fucking insane. Not to mention their phenomenal refund policy. I mean, shit, I must have refunded at least $300 worth of games at this point from the amount of games I've just tried on Steam and just didn't like. Another really funny story is that when my Steam Deck broke and I sent the system in, instead of just fixing it and sending the system back, they sent me an entire brand new system with the carrying case and charger included. So basically now I have an extra carrying case and charger because my system broke. But yeah, that's the end pretty much. I know I kind of got a little corporate cocksucky in this video, but that's because again, I genuinely believe that the Steam Deck is probably the most innovative gaming device to come out since like the N64 and PS1. And the fact that you can get one of these things for the same price as the Switch OLED, I mean, there's literally no reason to buy that console over the Steam Deck at this point. It's fucking done for. And so am I. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, follow my Twitter if you really liked the video, maybe consider becoming a member, and I hope you all have a great day.